Good morning, my dear students. So, this is a second video for the probability theory. So, in this video, we are going to discuss basics, definitions, theorems, etc. So, before we are going to proceed, you must give the sub, like symbol and subscribe this channel, isn't it? Okay, let us move the definition. Experiment. The term experiment refers to describe an act which can be repeated under some given conditions. So, I repeat, the term experiment refers to describe an act which can be repeated under the given conditions. For example, we can take toss a coin. Toss a coin is an experiment, isn't it? So, under the circumstance, I need the getting head so that I'm going to experiment that statement. How? Toss a coin. When you toss a coin, definitely I will get the head or tail, isn't it? So that is called experiment. What is a random experiment? The random experiments are those experiments whose results depends on chance, such as tossing of a coin, isn't it? So definitely either tail or head when a coin is tossed, isn't it? Okay, now the results of a random experiments are called outcomes. So there are two outcomes only in a coin, either head or tail, isn't it? Similarly, we can take dice. There are six phases: one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, isn't it? There are six phases. So these are the outcomes. So this is called the outcome of the given experiment. Let us move the next one. Event. An event whose occurrence is inevitable when a certain random experiment is performed is called a certain or sure event. So here, an event whose occurrences is inevitable. What does it mean? Inevitable, unavoided. We cannot avoid, isn't it? So that is called the inevitable. When a certain random experiment is performed is called a certain or event, isn't it? Sorry. An event whose occurrence is inevitable when a certain random experiment is performed is called a certain or sure event, isn't it? Now we move to the next one, mutually exclusive event. Two events are said to be mutually exclusive or incompatible when both cannot happen simultaneously in a single trial. So this is called a mutually exclusive event. So we will discuss the next video or after these definitions over, we will definitely see the examples which is related to each definitions, isn't it? Okay, so let us discuss only the definitions. Mutually exclusive events. There are two events is said to be mutually exclusive or incompatible when both cannot happen simultaneously in a single trial, isn't it? Okay. Very important note, if A and B are mutually exclusive when P of AB equal to 0. So sometimes P of AB can be written as P of A intersection B or P of A union B, isn't it? So when the events are mutually exclusive, the result will be 0, isn't it? Okay, now let's move the next one. Independent and dependent event. Two or more events are said to be dependent or independent when the outcome of one does not affect and is not affected by the other. So here we very clearly we are given independent. Two or more events are said to be independent when the outcome of one does not affect. So more important, does not affect another one. It is called independent. What about dependent? Those in which the occurrence or non-occurrence of the event in any one trial affects the probability of the other events in the trial. So this is the main difference between independent and dependent. Dependent, it is affected. Independent, not affected, isn't it? Okay. Let's move the next one. Equally likely events. Events are said to be equally likely when one does not occur more often than the others. So, so we will discuss that examples, each and every definitions. The next one. Now we have discussed only the definitions. Equally likely means events are said to be equally likely when one does not occur more often. Very important, more often, frequently, isn't it? Or greater than, isn't it? So the other one. Now we move to the next definition: simple and compound events. In case of simple events, we consider the probability of the happening or not happening of single events. In case of simple events, we consider the probability of happening or not happening of the single events. And the next one, exhaustive events. Exhaustive events are said to be exhaustive when their totality includes all the possible outcomes of the random experiment. So please underline the word all the possible outcome of the random experiment. Okay. Now the next one, complementary events. Let there are be two events A and B. A is called complementary event to B, or B is a complement of A. If A and B are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So thank you, my dear friends. Thank you.